It's Reaction Monday, and you're hearing Sandstorm, which means only one thing, that for the first time since late September, it's a Victory Reaction Monday. South Carolina 51, Coastal Carolina nowhere near 51. We haven't gotten to do this much. Only 4 times since August. But South Carolina wins a football game.
Jen had to pull it out the crate and dust it off. Dust off the sandstorm. Make sure there's no skips on it. Make sure it's not warped. Put it on the old record player. Put it on the jukebox. Tune it up. It still works.
And it's playing. It's working right now. It didn't get warped at all. Wow. Well, it finally happened. South Carolina wins. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We're going to be reacting to South Carolina's 51-7 win over Coastal. Here's how long it's been since we have sat here in this very studio and discussed a South Carolina victory on the show, right? So since the last Victory Reaction Monday, the entire MLB postseason was played.
Yeah.
Because I remember sitting in that press box of the Kentucky game, feverishly scoreboard watching Reds Brewers.
Okay.
So that for a chance to get into the playoffs. So we ended the regular season, started the playoffs, all the way through the World Series, through that, started the NBA season, in which we are now 4 weeks in, started the NHL season, when we're 5 weeks in, college basketball season started, and we are 6 games in for the men's side, about the same for the women. That's a lot that's gone down. Think about how much has changed in your personal life. How different has your home looked from late September all the way through October, now all the way going up to Thanksgiving?
Very solid point.
It's been a long time. And I was imploring you to enjoy the football games while you have them, because there is no more bowl game to go to, or no more hope for a bowl game. So all you have left is the enthusiasm for the last 2 games. And you know what? You've only gotten to enjoy 4 single wins this season. Enjoy them when you get them.
Well, they gave you a reason to be there early. Started it off on the right note. Maybe some people weren't even in their seats yet. Maybe you was kind of straggling in over the 4 o'clock start. But you came in, and if there was any doubt in your mind of how this game was going to go, this was exactly how you wanted to start a game. The exact way that you want to start a game is this way. When you start the game with a huge play, everybody's like, oh, okay, maybe we're going to have some fun today.
Yeah. This is really, though, this game, because, yes, I get it, and I've already seen the comments on YouTube or tweets, like, it's just Coastal. I do know it's Coastal Carolina. I'm very aware as to who they played, right? I didn't show up to Williams-Brice on Saturday and, like, who are these dudes wearing teal helmets? These sick, nice teal helmets. Mm-hmm. I know who they are. Very aware. But how many times this year in a football game did South Carolina come out and do exactly what you wanted them to do throughout the course of a game? Because he didn't even do that against South Carolina State. I remember sitting here the Monday after the South Carolina State game, and it being like, what is wrong with our offense? We could not score against the eventual MEAC champions. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But we just couldn't score. And if it weren't for 2 punt returns and a defensive score, we're talking about that game a whole lot differently, right? The bottom line of that game looks a whole lot different. And then, of course, you beat Kentucky, and then you lose every game after that. So, really, if you look at just the amount of games this year where South Carolina did everything you wanted them to do throughout the course of a game, it has been a long time since you could walk away from that stadium or your TV feeling fantastic about what you saw.
Yeah, and absolutely, you can take whatever you want from this game. Yes, we get it. It is just Coastal. However, that being said, if that game was close, the phone lines would be burning up right now.
Yep.
Right? If there was any doubt in that game against just Coastal, everybody would have been ready. So it was a no-win situation, obviously,
right.
They had to take care of business. But as I've said, they did take care of business. And that's what you wanted. This is what you wanted to see from this team all year, especially in these types of games. You wanted to see this situation, and they went out and did it. Now, my pessimistic Preston thought is, where was this all year? That's my pessimistic thought.
Why are we seeing this for the first time in late November?
That's the thing that got to me. I'm not so much like, oh, it's just Coastal, whatever. I'm not saying that because I don't take putting up 51 points for granted against any Division I opponent.
And those were 51 offensive points.
Right. So you don't ever take the idea that you put up points for granted, because that doesn't happen everywhere. And Coastal, though they are of a G5 team, they're not even one of these other teams like Eastern Illinois or Toledo, Samford or something like that. So it's not even that, but 51 points against anybody is an accomplishment. My next step would be, man, we really wasted this year.
Yeah.
Because now you're seeing that this team has offensive potential that we all kind of felt was there, and they squandered it based on the previous offensive coordinator that was here.
Yeah, just wasted it. Because, like, look, the entire season, we've talked about how this team has not scored more than 23 offensive points in a game. 23. And on Saturday, you had 20 in the first quarter. You had 37 in the first half. You then took your season high for the year in offensive points scored and you doubled it in this game. You didn't have over 400 total yards in a game all season long.
You had 312 in the first half against Texas A&M.
312 in the first half against Texas A&M. And guess what you still didn't do? Eclipse 400. Well, then you get out into this game and you look at just, the first half, and you put up 419 total yards of offense in the first half. You finished the game with 579. You threw for 300 yards and ran for almost 300 yards in this game. You didn't give up a sack. There's so many different offensive benchmarks in this game that this team reached that they weren't remotely close to reaching in any game, even against South Carolina State, even against Virginia Tech. That is very much so a fair point to say, hey, where the hell's this been all season long? How hard was it for you to get this out of them? Because we had 10 games before this, and not once in any of those did we reach any type of offensive production that even was remotely close to resembling what we saw on Saturday. It looked like a brand new team, right? It blows my mind to that point to like what were you doing all year? And that's totally fair, which is why I know some people wouldn't use the term culture or culture win. I don't like that. I'm not going to use it. You know why?
Okay.
Because if beating Coastal Carolina is a reflection of your culture, then that's your ceiling. Culture wins are beating teams in the SEC, comeback wins in the SEC, winning your league or competing in your league. This is a character win. I don't think this is a culture win, because if the culture you're building is beating up on Coastal Carolina, then I don't love what the culture is in your building. But this is a character win, because when you lose a game like you did last Saturday, it is human nature to just roll over and take the rest of the season off. Pack it in, right? Cancun on 3. But you didn't have that. Character is what wins this game, right? If this is your culture of just taking care of business against G5 schools, that sets the bar pretty low. But I do say this is an individual player character win for this team.
I think that's a really interesting distinction that I hadn't considered. And I've stated again, I'll repeat it, I'll say it over and over. Shane's unique gift as a head coach is to keep the team's character high, right? And that is a reflection of the individual character of the coaches, of the players, builds onto what they want eventually to be a winning championship culture. They're not there yet because they haven't been able to finish games for et cetera, for football reasons. But there wasn't really any doubt in my mind that the team would come out and play to their highest capabilities against this team, because that's the teams and that's the character that that Shane Beamer has created amongst that team. And I don't want you to take that for granted. Because, like you said, it is very easy to pack it up, pack it in, especially in the new age of football with all of the things that they have, whether it's the idea of my bank account is pretty set here. I have other options. I don't need to stay here. There are other ways that I can go about getting this done for myself. So then for them to go out there and play, you don't get a cookie for doing what you're supposed to. I hear you. But I'm telling you, being a part of teams who have packed it in, it is very easy to do that. And so they have to get credit for being able to go out there and focus on the task at hand.
I'm going to allude to one of our show's favorite memes of whenever, coaches are talking and they're like, hey, guys, we need to win this game because we need momentum for next year. How many guys in the room do you think, I'm not going to be here? And for those guys that are going, I'm not going to be here, how easy would it have been to play like you're not going to be here next year? That happens a lot, right? Like we've seen this program over the course of time lose games like to the Citadel, right? When you've packed it in. That is easy to do. Is see an opponent, be like, well, we should just be able to roll out of bed and beat them. And then don't. Because you don't have that dog in you the same way you did when the season first started, when camp was happening, when you still had expectation or when you still had hope to be able to salvage something of your season. Those can be losses. And we've seen, even in the last couple of years, even under Shane Beamer, Jacksonville State, who came here and scared the daylights out of you. We're driving down the field. We're in the red zone until Stone Blanton picked off a pass and ran it all the way back for a touchdown to put the game out of reach. I remember that game. Georgia State, right? The first game of 2023 or 2022 came in here and hung around. That's a Sun Belt team. And they hung around and gave you a game. Old Dominion, just last year.
I'm old enough to remember.
Old enough to remember being in the stadium for that weird game. Old Dominion.
Talk about lemon booty.
Oh, on that last drive until Jalen Kilgore picked off that pass. Yeah. You've seen teams of that ilk come in here and win before and scare the hell out of you before. But you know what? You got to sit in there or watch on TV, then play an opponent, and bludgeon them. Haven't gotten that a lot this year. An easy thing to get to enjoy on a Saturday.
Absolutely.
So it's not, I don't call it a culture win, but it is a character win. Also from Lenora Sellers, too. I think this is a really good sign that maybe he's getting into a rhythm that the play calling is helping him a lot because he looked a whole lot more comfortable on Saturday. A whole lot more comfortable in this game. Because now this game against Clemson gets even bigger. Lenore's goes 16 for 20, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns, runs for over 10 yards a carry, runs for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you want Lenore's playing his best ball because if you want to put Lenore's in a category of South Carolina quarterbacks, how many South Carolina quarterbacks have beaten Clemson twice? Now, I'm asking that one honestly because I can't think of many off the top of my head. Has it ever happened, Preston Thorne?
I'm not the greatest Gamecock historian. I'm sure somebody out there listening might have an answer to this right now. But I think the bigger issue is that
a decade.
The bigger issue is that I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Because you had a streak of what, 5 straight wins?
Yes.
And you've had different quarterbacks in that streak.
Yes.
I'll look that up during the break. 100%.
The overarching point is that if it doesn't happen often. If it has happened, it doesn't happen often.
He would be in rarefied air.
Yes.
Right?
Because we should know that if that had happened a lot.
Exactly.
If it happened a lot, yes, right? If it happened a lot, then you'd be like, oh, well, we could start naming names off the top of our head. I need to go back here in that streak specifically to see what the crossover of QBs were on that. So Connor Shaw probably.
That's the probable.
Connor probably
That's the probable I was looking at.
Yeah. But, I mean, how do we look at Connor Shaw in terms of great Gamecock quarterbacks? Maybe the best.
Tip of the top.
Tip of the top, yeah.
The winning is the tip of the top. Absolute peak.
This is something that Carolina quarterbacks don't do a ton of, is beat them multiple times, right? Lenore's can do that because I'm old enough to remember 3rd and 16 last season. But it is Clemson week. Don't want to bury the lead here. So when you call in today, answer the question. You get your thoughts in on the game. But also, I want to ask you this question. Why do you hate Clemson? Pretty simple. Why do you personally hate Clemson? Because we're squeezing in a rivalry week in only 4 days of shows. So we'll take your calls, and we'll look at what South Carolina did in terms of matching the criteria they want to reach every game. All of that next here in the early game.
Awesome start to your Monday morning. No accidents to report at this time. And beautiful forecast for the first part of this week. We are going to be in the low to mid 70s through Wednesday. Might see a couple showers on Wednesday. And then that all changes. 58 on Thursday, 53 on Friday, 53 for game day on Saturday. So going to be a little bit different come Thanksgiving Day. Right now, starting off your morning at 47.
So how do we judge this South Carolina football team? Well, they told us how at the very beginning of the season on a big old thing plastered up in their practice facility. We'll get to how they did in terms of accomplishing those things in just a moment, but it is Reaction Monday, which means we'll go to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Our man Joe is on the line with his first caller of the day. Good morning, Joe. How we doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. I hate the upstate team, man, because if I was taught as a young man, as a little old fella, if you love the Gamecocks, then there is no like about the orange, the color orange, the paw, or anything. So that's my Gamecock tradition. Okay. I just don't like them because I love the Gamecocks, bottom line. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, man, the game Saturday to me, I really, really enjoyed watching the young guys have a good time. It's kind of cool to watch the way Shane Beamer, like Preston said, keep this team together. They didn't look like a team that had not, taken care of all their goals this year. And so for that, for them to have the season that they had and to come out with so much spirit and be so live and just continue to want to accomplish whatever it is that they want to accomplish before the season is over, it was kind of cool to watch it. I want to make one point, man. At one point in time, guys, do you realize that there were 3 freshman wide receivers on the field at a time? Mm-hmm. No upperclassmen, straight freshmen.
Definitely
that's encouraging. That's encouraging to me because you had Brian Rowe, you had Jalen Sellers, and you also had Donovan Murphy. And so you also had 2 underclassmen running backs in number 28 and number 22. Their names can't come off my head right now. But yeah, it's just cool to watch how these young men are continuing to have fun. I was concerned about people coming back next year, but I really don't have that much of a concern because I think the key players who know what we're capable of doing next year are coming back because we seem to be. I think that we're returning just about everybody on the opposite side of the ball. But anyway. Yeah, no, I just enjoy watching those young guys have fun, man. It's encouraging to know that we have all of this talent coming back, and I just hope that it filters into a lot better than what it did this year.
So. Certainly. Absolutely, Joe. And to add to your point, too, with the freshman wide receivers, Carolina had 3 players catch 4 passes, right? And 4 is the team high in the game in terms of receptions. Those players, Jaden Sellers, Donovan Murphy, Brian Rowe Jr., the only players to catch more than 3 passes in that game. You had 3 of them. All of them were true freshmen.
And to add on to that, and this is probably the most 2025-ish thing to say, but there was a tweet from Mazeo Bennett saying thank you for a win. And Mazeo has not had the season that I'm sure he expected to have. Oh. And again, to this point, that is very high up on the list of, or low on the list of things that he could be tweeting.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
He's not A.J. Browning, if you will.
You know what I'm saying? And I know it's a little thing, and that's very 2025 if we're following Twitter accounts, but this is real life because a guy who has had a disappointing season, watch freshmen take snaps that he's not taking, could be doing all types of things, and he's not. And I think that means something for him and maybe even something larger for the program.
And then even outside of those three freshmen, who are the ones we've primarily seen in the passing game in big games this season, you still were able to get a catch from Malik Clark. True freshman, was one catch for 9 yards, and Jordan Gidron was able to get into the game. Two other guys that they felt really good about getting, also in-state guys, right? You look at those two, also guys that are in-state, right?
Also, another character thing to look at when you talk about character, on that Brian Rowe touchdown, in which Lenoris might have thrown that ball 300 miles per hour in the back of the end zone.
Donovan Murphy.
Donovan Murphy. I'm sorry, on Donovan Murphy. The first player down there to celebrate with him, Nick Harbor.
Yeah.
And I think that says something.
Yes.
It may not. It doesn't equate wins. I hear you. I hear everybody. But that means a lot.
It displays character.
Yes.
It does. And I think this team has that, right? Like, you can't accuse this team of quitting at all, right? Teams that quit don't win that game like that.
I've been there. I just want to keep reiterating. Keep want to say that.
Preston does. He knows what a team that is quitting looks like.
Yes, I do.
On a football field.
Yeah, Clemson. I know we don't want to say that around these parts, but I'm old enough to remember I was part of a team that got beat 63-17 by Clemson. And you think Clemson was that much better than us? They weren't.
No.
We just were ready to go home.
It was closing time.
So, listen, I know they're not going to get credit for doing what you're supposed to do, but as we've seen, things that you're supposed to do don't have to happen all the time.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
They don't. Sometimes, especially this season, what's supposed to happen and what happened have been two completely different realities, right? And the gap has been Grand Canyon-esque in terms of its separation. So this year, like when you see it actually applied in a game of what you should do and what is actually done happen in the same game, it does feel refreshing if you're a Gamecock fan. Now, this is how we know it really is what it's supposed to be, or what it was supposed to look like. Because all year long, we've talked about like the 5 main things this team wants to do every single game. They want to run the ball and stop the run. Their average run was 7.1 yards. Coastal Carolina's was 1.9. Yeah, you dominated that one. Win the explosive play battle. South Carolina did it 16-4. Dominated the explosive play battle. He had 16 explosive plays in this game. Win the turnover battle by virtue of Brian Thomas Jr.'s forced fumble on Tad Hudson in the first quarter. They win the turnover battle. Play smart football. I think so. I think they played really smart football. They didn't do anything that hurt the team. Nobody really did anything that hurt the team, with the exception of a couple of false starts. May or may not have been by your center. But it did happen a ton in the game, not to impact the actual outcome of the game. And then, dominate the fourth quarter. Well, you didn't need to because you were up pretty big. You were up 44-0 going into the fourth quarter. So you didn't need to. I do find it ironic that we still have only gotten 2 fourth quarter wins this year because it was tied 7-7 in the fourth quarter. By virtue of a blocked punt that I know Shane Beamer is mad about. I know.
That is the bane of a coach's existence when you're in a blowout type of situation, but you have to keep your special teams. You have to keep everybody. You usually start to see substitution errors. Is the second string in? Is the first guys in? All that type of stuff happen, and it happened. And that is going to be something that maybe people will be getting on the line for that.
Oh, yeah. And I think Mason Love found out the hard way why you got to really strap up your chin strap. Because all year long, that thing's just been hanging out like that. Because he doesn't need to.
Hey, punter, you're a football player too.
Tighten the thing up a little bit. Because that helmet popped right off when he tried to make a tackle. It was not going to stay on very long. He learned that lesson the hard way. Arjen Jensen, sitting up there with me in the press box. I didn't get beaten up this time because there was no stress in this game. I think the stress was eliminated early on when Jaden Sellers took the first catch all the way to the house. But what are Jen's observations? We'll find out because Jenny from the box is next.
We are not Mondaying on the roads right now. Nope, nope, nope. It's looking pretty good. No accidents, no major slowdowns right now, and we do look for that to continue. And it's going to be nice for the next couple of days. 72 today, 75 both Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, we could see a couple of showers popping in. And then we have a cold front coming in. And Thanksgiving, it's actually going to be sunny, but only 58 for the high. Overnight low in the 30s. Game day on Saturday, it's going to be partly cloudy. A little bit cooler than it has been. It's going to feel like actual football weather. It's going to be about 53 on Saturday. Right now, 47 on the early game.
It's Reaction Monday. Our Jen Jensen has some observations from the press box. Before we get to them, we will get to your calls. 803-404-6100. That's the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Getting your reaction from this game and also answering my question, why do you hate Clemson? That's where we're going to get to Sean this morning. Sean, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, good morning.
How we doing?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Pretty much, like everyone else, I was really hyped up about this. Pretty much.
Hold on, let me take it off speaker. I apologize. But I was really hyped up about the season.
I was really hyped up about this.
Pretty much. Hold on, let me take it off speaker.
Yeah, you might have to call back later, Sean. Yeah, we're not getting much from you here. I don't know if it's a reception thing or what, but try back later. And we'll try to.
And bring some more juice next time, man. 6:30 in the morning. We got to call with some juice.
Gotta bring it.
You got to bring some more juice, man. It's Monday.
I think I might have accidentally smacked us out of the video stream. I don't know what happened. I keep hitting the table like this. Maybe we'll come back. I don't know what happened there. So if you're watching, you're seeing the monitor right there. I'll try to fix that. But with that being said, it's time to get some observations from one Jen Jensen, because it's Jenny from the box.
Well, it was a pretty tame game. In fact, I think Elijah got annoyed because at one point I put my feet up actually on the console in front of his because it's like, okay, I'm kind of relaxed, feeling pretty good.
She wasn't even wearing shoes. It's wild.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, we should have done more for the pedicure. So I apologize for that. Really, it was a good game overall. Turnout wasn't too bad. I don't think the crowd was too bad. One thing I was a little disappointed in is that people did fade out, So kudos to the students who stayed through the entire game because probably a little over half of the students were gone. So kudos to the one who stuck around, and same to the fans because, again, it kind of wiped out a little bit as we got past halftime. People, I think, were very comfortable, but it's like you want to see them win. Let's go ahead and see the backup quarterbacks. I'd love to see how they play. So again, kudos to the fans who did end up sticking around. It was kind of fun again to see Attaway come in, Cutter Woods come in, Aaron Nolan come in. That was kind of fun. And I guess overall, Elijah and I talked about this before. I'm sorry, the teal uniforms, crisp.
Yeah,
I mean they are sharp.
Good looking in person.
Yeah, they look really good. And I was also saying I'm not a big garnet on garnet fan. I like to have some black in there or some white. So I'm not a huge garnet on garnet fan. So it just made those uniforms pop even more. So my fashion, the fit for the day, man, Coastal looking pretty good. That was the only thing that looked good from them. But and then as far as I guess the last thing really is, well, we did not lose the fourth quarter. That was an observation that we all made. And it was like that was a kind of an exciting time. I know you guys will hit on that. But, God bless the military appreciation. They bang it up every single year. They do such a good job honoring all branches of military, and gets me every time. They did a great job. So kudos to the band and to everybody who coordinates that, because huge salute to the military, and I really appreciated that a whole bunch.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Good highlight of the game. Always love the military appreciation game.
Yeah, they just an amazing job. And my dad was World War II Marine Corps vet, and so when the Marine Corps goes by, with their flags, and they play the song, and it's good times. So other than that, really no drama. There's obviously we're looking around going, where's all the NFL scouts? No,
not as many NFL
those.
scouts in the house for Coastal.
No, a little more breathing room yesterday or on Saturday, so not really any scouts to see. But overall, like I said, it was a fun game. It was a relaxed game. You could go kind of hang out with people and visit, and the big vat of vanilla pudding that Terry could not get his hands on. That was disappointing for him. I sent him a big picture because that was a huge, huge bowl, and that would have just been his, because he would have just taken that to his seat. But so that was kind of fun. But anyway, those are kind of my observations, hoping for more drama come next week.
Good stuff there from Jim Jensen. That's the best part. It was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a fun game. We haven't had many times to sit up there, and it was just fun.
Has not been a lot of fun, and that's something that Joe mentioned earlier, is about the idea of seeing the players out there having fun. And obviously, it's tough to have fun when you're losing. I get it, but there hasn't been a palpable sense of, to quote Shane, joy that you've seen out of the team this year. And I think that's something that it may or may not have been missing this year, as far as the team playing the way that you saw them play. Doesn't hurt when you start the playoff with a 75-yard touchdown. That feels good.
Eases any anxiety.
Yes, that feels good, and that gets you going in the right direction. So
I think it was a good game for Hunter too.
Oh, okay, yeah, Hunter.
I think at one point we saw a promo where he's like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" Very excited about that first touchdown.
That was a fun play.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really was.
And I think that wasn't Jaden's first touchdown, is it?
Don't know.
Can't remember if that's his first touchdown.
I want to say he's already had one.
Yeah, he might have. Maybe I have memory hold it right now because we don't remember a lot of the touchdowns this year. Not like we've scored an abundance of them.
That's true.
But
this probably would be a year that it's easier to remember.
Right. But, I mean, that was maybe your biggest explosive play touchdown this season, and it was a simple play. It turned out it was an RPO. That was the call. That was revealed to us after the game, is that it was an RPO. And it was so well blocked on the outside. I think that's one of the things I was most impressed about, is how effective the screen game.
You know who threw the key block?
Oh, who was it?
Fofo.
Mo Brown. Poor Mo Brown. They tried to throw him the ball. Tried.
That's twice this year. I think we're good with that. I don't think we need to incorporate that anymore.
Oh,
we know what his strengths are.
That's right. And no one's going to accuse him of being Randy Moss.
Right.
Oh, well, that was one of the winning teams. A lot of winning teams in the state of South Carolina. But one team in the state punched their ticket to a prestigious event and won a conference championship. We'll tell you exactly who that is coming up next here in the early game. We heard that a lot on Saturday because in a winner-take-all for MEAC supremacy, South Carolina State took down Delaware State. And for the second straight year,
2 times,
Chennis Berry, as the head coach at South Carolina State, wins the MEAC. He's only been there 2 years.
I don't know, man.
Pretty successful.
Winners win. Winners win. You win at any level. You won at Benedict. You go straight there. And I guess he's going, I have to check this now, but there might be 3 championships in a row because when he was leaving Benedict, he was leaving off of a championship, I believe. And so winners win, man. And he's gotten this program, taking the reins of a program. You know the old saying, you never want to follow in the footsteps of a legend, Buddy Pugh being an absolute legend. Well, he's taken that mantle and continued it even further. And so, yeah, I know a lot of the conversation this year around South Carolina is like, well, they couldn't even do that around South Carolina State. True to a point, but we all knew at that time, hey, the South Carolina State team is going to be really good. We knew that, and we understood that was going to happen. So everybody was very, very excited about that. And 2 times in a row. But I did not expect Delaware State to be there. It wasn't that South Carolina State.
Anybody expected Delaware State to be there.
It's like Chennis Berry on one sideline and then Deshaun Jackson
on the other sideline?
Deshaun Jackson, the deep threat, but also the guy who notoriously drops the ball before he gets into the end zone. Not once, not twice, but 3 times he's done this. And now he's the head coach. A good one? Very interesting.
Good immediately because also same coaching hiring cycle. Mike Vick to Norfolk State has not worked out at all.
Did not work great.
They've been bad.
Yeah.
They've been bad. And here's the thing. Maybe it should be a little easier for Norfolk State to be able to win with given like more program history. Delaware State hasn't been good in, 15, 20 years? Been a long time since Delaware State was even in contention to winning that conference. They've had a couple teams, especially like in the 20 teens, that weren't just bad, atrocious. Like maybe the worst in Division I. Historically bad football teams. And what Deshaun Jackson did in year 1 there, mightily impressive. Mightily impressive.
Yeah, so
that's one thing. To say that was a de facto conference championship game was not expecting that at all this year. I could see South Carolina State doing it because I think they're picked to even win the league. But an unexpected challenger. However, South Carolina State led the entire game. And that was at Delaware State in Dover.
Second year, so Chennis Berry's second year in the MEAC, undefeated in the MEAC thus far in 2 years.
That's right. Owning it.
We talked about it when we saw them early. We know they run a very cool style of offense. They run a very unique offense that he runs. He is the de facto OC, even though he has he's the play caller, O-line guy. And I'm just throwing it out there. Hey, we're in the market for an offensive coordinator. We're in the market for O-line that hasn't been playing well. An O-line guy who calls plays from the offensive coordinator. I'm just saying.
Chennis Berry's developed a really good offensive line at South Carolina State. Remember when I was watching that Wofford game to kind of get ready for that week, and I was like, Roger Smith, their right tackle, is really good. Like an aggressive run blocker, really good in pass protection. Really liked what I saw. I developed like a little player crush on Roger Smith, and I was like, how much eligibility does he have? This is his last one. I was like, can you poach him? But you can't because he can't play any more college football.
So by virtue of winning the MEAC, they will be playing in the Celebration Bowl, which is December 13th, I believe. They'll be playing the winner of whoever wins the SWAC championship. So that's yet to be determined, but they have punched their ticket again to the Celebration Bowl.
It's the last thing Chennis Berry needs to do is to put the cherry on top and win. You got to finish the job because they got to it last year, lost to Jackson State. Now is an opportunity to do it again. And I think Jackson State, if you look at current standings, has a chance because they do a SWAC championship game because of course which makes me so mad. They poached some teams from the MEAC like Bethune-Cookman, and that's pretty lame. But if you look at
realignment, not just for the big boys.
Oh no, it's greatly diminished the MEAC. So if you look at the SWAC right now, Jackson State and Alabama State, both 7-1, one division. Prairie View A&M will be playing in that SWAC championship game. Jackson State and Alabama State, who are tied, it'll be Jackson State winning that tiebreaker because they did beat Alabama State 38-34.
Okay.
So Jackson State and Prairie View A&M for all the marbles in that conference, meaning more than likely we will have a rematch in the Celebration Bowl.
Bring it.
So Chennis Berry's going to get redemption in early December. So looking forward to that. That is one team in the state that lived up to expectations this year. Between South Carolina and Clemson doing that, what they've done this year. There's one program in the state of South Carolina that had lofty expectations for itself and now can seal the deal.
Finishing on December 13th, we'll be watching.
And speaking of a team sealing the deal and winning their conference and featuring some South Carolina ties, do you remember someone named Dante Reno?
I do.
Well, Dante Reno's at Yale now and is the starter at Yale. He started in his first Harvard-Yale game.
And?
Yale won 42-28 to knock Harvard off the top spot in the Ivy League. So Yale wins the Ivy League. And for the first time ever, an Ivy League team will be playing in the FCS playoffs. This is the first year they're allowing their teams to play in the FCS playoffs. So Dante Reno will make history as the first ever starting Ivy League quarterback to start an FCS playoff game.
Congratulations to Dante.
Yeah, Ivy League champion. So some people have fulfilled expectations this year. Hour number 2, your calls next.
It's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Demolition, yep, that was the name of the game in our kitchen a couple years ago. Had to completely gut the kitchen, redo all of the cabinetry, and they were such a help over at CHW Cabinetry. We got the layout figured out, got the photorealistic rendering of our finished kitchen, gave us something to look forward to, but also gave us an opportunity to take a picture in to figure out what else we needed as far as flooring and backsplash and countertops and all the things. But to utilize their services, you don't have to do a complete remodel. We ended up updating a couple of bedrooms or a couple of bathrooms and needed new cabinetry. They were helpful in that respect. They can also update your pantry. They can update your closets and make those a little bit better. Home office workspaces, you get the gist. CHWCabinetry.com to learn more. Call them at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. No major slowdowns at this time. Good news in that respect, and good news as far as your forecast goes for at least the first part of the week. 72 today, 75 tomorrow and Wednesday. Now, a couple showers could be coming in on Wednesday, and that's going to usher in a cold front. So coming the rest of the week, it's going to be in the 50s, 58 for Thanksgiving, and we're looking for 53 on Friday and Saturday. So going to be a little more crisp for that Clemson game. That's all right. It's football weather. Right now, 47 on the early game.
It's Reaction Monday, and we're reacting to South Carolina's 51-7 win over Coastal Carolina. And I have posed the question here in hour number 2. Why do you hate Clemson? I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We are going to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, and we will start off with Ernest, who's been waiting patiently. Good morning, Ernest. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, Elijah. Good morning, Preston. The reason I hate Clemson is they're so arrogant. I mean, how stupid is it to get on a bus, ride halfway around your stadium to get off to run down a hill and touch a rock? That is stupid, okay? This weekend, they're coming to our house. There is no rock for them to touch. And guess what? They're going to win it for Gamecock Larry 37-24.
Okay. Ernest even calling a shot with the score.
That's the juice we need on the call. Great job, Ernest. We appreciate it.
Oh, good stuff there from Ernest. He brought it. I asked him a question, and he answered it emphatically. I love the enthusiasm this morning, Ernest. Good stuff. Now we'll go back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. We're going to try Sean again. All right, Sean. Welcome back to the early game.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
Yes. Better, much better.
Were you asking me the same question?
Absolutely.
I think we're absolutely going to crush Clemson. It's been it hasn't been the best year for us. There was a lot of hype. But as far as how we played in the last game, I think it's more of instead of like rebuilding, it's going to be more like reloading. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes. I think Carolina's going to go in there and take care of business, and I got a really good feeling about it.
Good.
As far as next year, I'm really optimistic. We got a lot of good guys coming in, new talent. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that they don't.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Sean. Yeah, we gotta cut you off for time constraints here, but he said absolutely going to crush Clemson. Wrote that down. So that's between him and Ernest. We're already calling shots this morning.
Okay, that's what 51 points would do for you.
That's what I was hoping it'd do. Make you feel a little bit better, right?
Make you feel.
Make you feel again, right?
Yes. What are these feelings I'm having?
Make you feel something.
Yes.
Right? Make you feel something again. And that's why, I did leave the stadium and like, okay, well, now we got a fun one, right? Like, it's going to be the last game of the year. The Clemson game, at least you get to end the season in a game that is culturally significant around here. So that'll take us back to the AAA Heating Air phone lines, 803-404-6100. Maine Carlton is on the line. Carlton, good to hear from you again, brother. Good morning. Welcome to the early game.
How you guys doing? That was me at championship number 20.
20.
Racking them up. Historic program for South Carolina State.
Yeah, and the Celebration Bowl is December 15th at 12 o'clock.
December 15th. All right. Appreciate those details. Carlton was keeping me updated the entire game. And I appreciate that. Score by score, Carlton was keeping me updated with that game. Carlton came up to our pregame show, or the local pregame show over at Jay's Corner Bar, decked out in South Carolina State gear. He was pretty excited. South Carolina State grad. Big win for the Bulldogs.
Got a big chance to bring another one back home.
Yes, we have to bring home another one. You have 20 of them. It's good to not feel complacent anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Still getting excited with those wins. But it is Reaction Monday. South Carolina finally on offense achieved a lot of the benchmarks they just haven't achieved all season long. And that's one of my biggest takeaways from this game. When I look at it, there's only so many things that you can take from a 51-7 game against a Sun Belt opponent, right? But there are a couple things I think maybe you can carry over, because you did see at least this type of offensive explosion in the first half against Texas A&M. Now, the problem was you didn't do it for half number 2, and that created an entire other narrative or storyline, whatever word you want to use, for how we now remember that Texas A&M game. But you did it for all 4 quarters this time. You finally broke past 400 total yards of offense in a game. You finally scored more than 3 offensive touchdowns in the game. You finally scored more than 23 offensive points in a game. And you finally had a game where you did not give up a sack. Those were some offensive benchmarks in this game that you just haven't seen all year. You were 6 for 6 in the red zone. 6 for 6. And those were all touchdowns. They weren't settling for field goals. You were punching it in for 6. The only field goal you settled for was because there was 3 seconds to go in the half.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of had to. How much of that can carry over into the Clemson game? And out of the 4 halves of football we've seen with Mike Furrey as the offensive coordinator and play caller, how much of that is what this team is now going into this game against Clemson?
Well, I think what carries over is the confidence that you can actually score. Because I don't care what the coaches say. If you go out every Saturday and you do not score points, the next Saturday there's no evidence to believe that you're going to do it. And so now, for 2 weeks in a row, the offense has been able to put up points, have been able to make plays, have explosives, score in the red zone, do all of these different types of targeted things. That is going to lead to an increase in preparation. That's going to lead to an increase in confidence in the staff. And that's going to lead to an increase in execution during Saturdays. What does that mean? We'll see. But you got to feel a heck of a lot better as a team that goes into this game with this new offense as opposed to that offense that you had. To put it like this, Clemson does not have any reason to study the past 9 games.
No, at all.
Right? There's any scouting that they had been doing, throw it out, because they have a totally new offense in look, in execution, in style, in rhythm. All those, it's a different type of offense. Now, will they face challenges? Yes. Was that Coastal? Obviously. We get all of those different things. But as an offense, when you see, it's like basketball, when you see the ball go in the hoop, you feel a lot better.
Changes things for you a little bit.
And this changes the confidence in preparation that they have going into the year.
One thing that I noticed that can carry over, if your perimeter players are out here blocking like they did on Saturday and they're attacking their assignments, you're going to get a screen game going really well. Because if you just want to look at some of just the screen game numbers, and we'll get into more of this in depth later on, but going 8 for 9 for 170 yards and a touchdown, so picking up on just per attempt, picking up 19 yards per attempt, that's incredibly efficient. Yes, I know the 75 yard play was kind of an outlier, but even if you take that out, you're still picking up effective yards on just a perimeter passing game, right? Which tells me that you might see more of that against a much better defensive front against Clemson, and you're seeing your playmakers play with a little bit of confidence. Mike Furrey knows the players to get the ball out in space too. and getting the right guys out there who will block and who will create open running lanes. That's something we've wanted to see this team do against really good defenses this year. I mean, whether it was going into the LSU game, going into Oklahoma, going into Alabama, going into Texas A&M, how many times were we heavily emphasizing a quick action passing game to help your offensive line out a little bit?
We've been calling for it.
Every single game. I think it's been every single game where you have played up to an elite defense. We've been saying, hey, just get the ball out fast, get into your playmakers. And for some reason, they just couldn't do that, right? But that's one thing that I do really appreciate that. And we saw a play action rate of 45% in this game. How many times has it been 20 or less? And that's been their best offense.
I mean, if you listen to the show, there's two things we've been calling for: more play action and more screens, draws, and delays. And it seems like they've incorporated that into the offense, and all of a sudden the offense has been successful. And the reason why it works is you have proof of concept now. When the coaches are yelling at you and they're telling you that you need to block downfield and do all this stuff, you can say all of that, but, Coach, we're only putting up 17 points. So I don't really believe anything that you're telling me
Right.
because what you're telling me is not working. But now when a coach tells you to do something and we put up 51 points, I'm more likely to want to do more of it. And it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep.
And that's how confidence works.
Yeah, sometimes you get the juice from seeing yourself have the juice. Now we'll go back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Let's go to Chuck first. Chuck, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, guys. I enjoy you. First of all, I'm from Greenville, Taylor's. I'm working in Columbia, and I have learned a lot about. I'm a Clemson fan, but
Nice.
I have learned a lot. You guys have a great show, Preston, Jen. I listen to you guys every morning going to work. But I love the objectivity. I just like good football, like you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Carolina will win this game. I've been a Clemson fan for 40-something years, and I just don't like the way our program's been going in the last few years. The recruiting hasn't been as well, and it's all about Jimmy's and Joe's, like you guys know. But I'm going to predict Carolina will probably hang 30. I don't think we'll score that much. Team Lawson went out in this game this weekend, Shaq's boy, and shouldn't have been in the game. But whatever, I'm not making excuses. It is what it is. You guys got players hurt too, but I believe Sellers will do his thing. And I like the way I watched the whole Carolina game. They ran the ball really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Clemson on their back end has been weak. And I believe with all that together, and I hadn't seen, y'all talking about a good defensive front. It was supposed to have been, but I hadn't seen it this year.
Right.
But anyway, I'm a realist. And anything I'd like to say is I love you guys' show. And I have learned so much about Carolina football this year. And I enjoy you guys' show. And I'll take it off there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck. Yeah.
Chuck, man, thank you. That really does mean a lot. And that's a huge compliment, obviously, because we want to do a show that everybody can listen to. We put our biases up front, so know what, we know who we cover, but we strive to do an objective show, and that really does mean a lot. So appreciate that, Chuck.
Yeah, all fan bases welcome to chime in.
Because at the end of the day, we're still just talking ball.
We love football. That's why we're here. We're not sitting in these chairs if we just do not love the game of football. We'll get back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Wayne is on the line. Good morning, Wayne. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. I do listen to you guys all the time as well. And Preston, I'm going to throw one out there for you and let you think about it, and then you tell me what this movie is. Pop Goes the Weasel. He used the term when he's about to shoot you or kill you or beat you up or something. He says, Pop Goes the Weasel. And that's what we're saying about doing this Clemson game. It's just basically Pop Goes the Weasel. They discovered that they can score, that what they're being told to do does work. So I don't want to throw a blue heron into the mix here, but Shane Beamer may hurt himself here in this next pick, because if he chooses an offense coordinator that does not do what the coach is doing right now, then he's going to snub us up because he said, I can't pick another inside guy because they're going to have my head because they mad at the Mike Schuler pick. and they didn't like Loggins when he came here, but they learned to love him. So, but Mike Vernon, got something going on here, and this looks very similar to some of the stuff he did when he was at Presbyterian. I mean, can Shane Beamer pick him? Is it possible he can take the criticism of choosing a Mike Vernon as his office coordinator? Very, very interesting.
Oh,
but I love that play Benedict used in the game when they was running back, and then all of a sudden when everybody gravitated to the guy running the ball in the kickback, and he threw it across the field to another receiver that ran it all the way back. They couldn't catch him. That's a nice play because once everybody starts chasing the ball, that's a nice play. I love that play. And it worked to perfection for Benedict, and I was very proud of them. The score I'm gonna give you here is gonna be very unusual because I'm a Gamecock fan, but I'm thinking we're gonna beat them like 42-17.
42-17.
And that's
42-17. We got to hit a break here, Wayne, but appreciate the call as always, man. Great insight. I want to get to the Mike Furrey thing that you brought up.
It's a great conversation.
I want to address that, and we'll do that and have our morning meeting coming up next on the early game. Reliability and trust. Two things that I really look for when it comes to trusting somebody with the roofing and waterproofing of my home or my business, right? Any building that you'd own, that's something that you need when it comes to roofing and waterproofing. It's the security of your building. For nearly 30 years, Midstate Roofing's been doing that for folks here in the Midlands. It's a proven history, and that proven history is the assurance that you can trust the professionals at Midstate to provide proper advice, service, and most importantly, the results to the very specific needs of your facility, right? Doesn't matter if it's high-rise hospitals, at manufacturing to industrial, they've been designing and installing bonded systems with a protective guarantee to keep your operation dry and running long into the future. Give them a call today, 803-356-1919, or you can always send them up online at midstateroofing.com.
No accidents that are getting in the way at this time. Good news, and hope we continue to have a nice, simple Monday. The weather is certainly going to cooperate. 72 for the high, 75 tomorrow and Wednesday. Come Wednesday, now we are looking for maybe a few showers, and then that's when the cold front comes through, and we'll have a high of 58 for Thanksgiving, 53 for game day when Carolina beats Clemson. Just going to put that out there. Right now, 47 on the early game.
Wanted to address one thing from Wayne's call before we get to the morning meeting. And that's the thing about Mike Furrey, right? In terms of this being the most important OC hire Shane's ever had to make, most important assistant coach hire. I don't even want to just limit it to the offensive coordinator. Out of all the assistants that he has brought in on his staff to coach since he has been leading this program, this is the most important one, right? The most important one. You got to make it count. You've seen what Mike Furrey did in the first half against A&M. You saw what he did in the second half against A&M, and those are two different conflicting pictures. Then you saw what the offense did against Coastal Carolina, where it's the cleanest and most well-executed game they have played all year, at least from a statistical standpoint, right? Shane, even after the game, because I did ask him after the game about how he thought they executed the game plan. And he still said they left some plays on the table, a couple things they wanted to do they weren't able to hit on. But you can't argue with 51 points, all offensive, scoring more touchdowns in a game than you have at any point this season, getting more yards in a game that you have at any point this season by a wide margin, really. You're seeing that success. There's real question as to if it carries over to the Clemson game. And if it does, let's just say it does. Let's say some of the predictions that we've had call in come true. Ernest says it's going to be 37-24. Sean says they're going to absolutely crush Clemson. Chuck says, who is a Clemson fan, by the way, thinks Carolina scores 30+. Wayne says it's going to be a 42-17 game. So let's just say that is the reality that we're living in this time next week. I think Mike Furrey would be seriously considered. I don't think that makes him a shoo-in for the job, but I think it leaves it to the point where everything's on the table. And I will add this to it. It will take a lot of stones to be able to stick with Mike Furrey. Given what just happened with Mike Shula, even if it's the right call, right? Even if it is in Shane Beamer's heart of hearts that this is the best guy to run the offense, that this is the best guy to be able to take what you're going to have coming back next year and make a winning season out of it. Even if he truly believes that, because if he does truly believe it, it becomes the right decision for him. But it would take a lot more courage and bravery to be able to do that given what we saw this year.
You nailed exactly what I was going to say. And to build on that idea of this going to take some stones, I want whoever Shane decides to be the OC, I want it to be a call that he has to have some fortitude to make. Yeah. When I mean that, I don't want it to be, and so there are a couple of maybe easier retreads that people would be like, oh yeah, that's a good one, and that's fine. But I'm here for Shane going and picking an up-and-coming guy that maybe nobody has necessarily heard of, or maybe a guy that's from a G5 that is working. I'm okay with Shane having to stand 10 toes down and say, this is my guy, and I'm making it. Now, whether that's Mike Furrey, okay, whatever it is, because this is the guy that you're hitching your essential career to.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the way this looks. And so you nailed it yes, it is going to take Shane standing up and answering questions about why he chose this guy. Yes, it is going to be more difficult being that we just went through a in-office promotion that did not work out, but these are for different reasons. And also, when Mike Shula had his not debut, when he had his interview process or when he had his demo in the Citrus Bowl, it wasn't good.
It wasn't, no.
It was bad, as a matter of fact.
It underwhelmed. And I think we could excuse it because bowl game or anything like that. We tried to spray the room with potpourri, but the stink was there, right? The stink was still there, and we tried to spray it and potpourri it. Mike Furry, not the other Mike, but Mike Furry has been a lot more successful against better competition, Texas A&M, and against least competition where he scored points, more successful than Mike Shula was ever. Doesn't mean he should get a shoe-in, as you said, but it does mean that there has to be consideration. And wherever it goes, I just want Shane to make a call that is well-researched, thorough, where he has to say, this is my guy, and I'm standing with it. Yep, no matter what it is. At the end of the day, if you make an outside-the-program hire, you should do it because you firmly believe that is the best guy for the job, and that is where you'll get the optimal results, right? Doing it because I need to do an outside hire, even if it is disregarding maybe the better candidate, would be foolish, right? You do what you firmly believe because we're not in the interview room. We are not the ones making the decision. If Mike Furry is determined to be the absolute best guy for the job, then you should make that call. Then that should be what you roll with. And it's because that's going to be the one that's going to be the harder decision to make, or the one that might have the most backlash. Like, you're going to have to live with.
Yeah, but if I was interviewing Mike Furry, if he was coming in as an outside candidate, I'd say, hey, Mike, you were part of a staff that was 16th in the SEC in offense. What was your role in that?
Yeah,
there's some serious questions that he needs to be asked, and he needs to answer also, because he was part of a staff that was dysfunctional and was not good offense. And so all of a sudden, the offense is good. Well, where was that before, Mike?
Right.
You shouldn't have been just sitting in the meetings. You should have been raising your hand a little bit more. So there needs to be some serious questions and answers throughout this process, but I think Mike has earned himself an opportunity to be involved.
Absolutely, especially if we get the results if we get a result on Saturday that has mirrored what we've seen in the first two games, it becomes a discussion. But there are other things that happened over the weekend. That's what will take us to this morning's morning meeting.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
Yeah, it will.
Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
It will be an awesome day because we are talking about a Gamecock victory, but we do have to get to the one dark spot of the weekend because there's a lot of excitement about Lamont's team, the men's basketball team. They went to the Greenbrier, played in West Virginia, the bunker spot for the United States Congress in case of a global catastrophe. But if you want to go down that rabbit hole, just Google that. It's an interesting, worth a Google type thing, right? A good buddy of mine who's a principal here locally was talking to me about that last night when we were hanging out, and he said he got to tour it, and he's like, it's a very fascinating thing. But they played basketball in a ballroom over the weekend, 2 games, won the Jen Jensen Bowl, in which Butler, congratulations, Butler Bulldogs, you are Jen Jensen Bowl champions.
I know. I've got to figure out what the trophy is and pay for it and take it myself.
It just has to have your face on it.
Oh, no.
It just has to have your face on it because Butler won 79-72. Maybe it could be a chew toy for the Bulldog. What do they call the Bulldog?
Put Butler Blue on it.
Butler Blue. Yeah, Butler Blue. Yeah.
Blue 4.
Yeah, so Butler Blue will be receiving a gift from Jen Jensen. And then they lost to Northwestern 79-77. I will say in these 2 games, the biggest takeaway for me is anything that you would have had questions about with the South Carolina roster going into the season was reflected over the weekend.
And so from an outside looking in, not diving deep into the roster yet, if the 3 ball's not falling, they're going to struggle. And also they're going to have some problems with physicality in the paint. Those are the 2 questions we had, and it seems like they reared their ugly head.
Especially when it comes to rebounding. Butler won that game because they offensive rebounded so well. Butler didn't have to shoot the ball very well to be able to win that game. They were 5 of 12. Oh, they hit 41%. They only shot 12 threes. But the offensive rebounding is the big thing. They grabbed 42% of their missed shots in that game. That's a lot. Northwestern did not have as many, but Northwestern was a lot more successful in the painted area in that game. And sometimes physicality was something I had concern about with this team. Showed its ugly head over the weekend. But more reaction for yesterday's game, including a lesson from Professor P next.
Pressing here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, it's no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They come out to wherever you are. School, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you and take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows or mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. They say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
No significant slowdowns this morning. We are not Mondaying, and we are not complaining about that either. 72 today, 75 tomorrow and Wednesday. Could see some showers rolling in on Wednesday. And then as that cool front comes in, 58 will be our high on Thanksgiving. Will be about 53 for Friday and Saturday. So going to be a cooler game day than we've experienced as of late. That's all right. It'll be good. It's football weather. And it's 47 right now.
It's Reaction Monday. You just heard. 803-404-6100. Come react with us. AAA Heating and Air phone lines have some good texts on the text line that we'll get to, too. But first, we will get to James on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Good morning, James. Welcome to the early game.
Morning. Thanks for having me, guys. I will say real quick, last week, great calls on Monday. Obviously, terrible result on Saturday, but that session of calls and the timer was elite. I did not get a chance to call in last week, but great job there. So you guys asked the question why I hate Clemson. Have hated Clemson my entire life. I have a new reason to hate them this year. My 4-year-old goes to half-day school at the church. They had college team on Thursday last week, I believe. So my oldest goes in wearing his Sellers jersey, comes back home, starts telling me that his friend was wearing a Tiger shirt. And he's like, we don't like Tigers, right, Dad? I'm like, no, we don't like them. He goes, well, he said Tigers beat Gamecocks. I'm like, no. He's like, Dad, will Gamecocks beat the Tigers? I'm like, they will. So they better.
Oh, you made a promise.
We cannot let that guy down.
James! James!
Oh, my gosh. Whoa.
Oh, no.
Might have got over your skis a little bit.
Oh, James, no. Oh, man. Well, now there's more on the line here.
Pressure.
Yeah, I think we need to call Beamer on that one. He needs to understand the significance of this game now.
Oh, James, you know what? For you, you need this. You need this. Are you prepared for the discussion you'll have with him if it does not happen?
No, I have no idea what to do. We need to get the points on Saturday, fellas.
It'll start with, son, you're going to learn about disappointment in life. Being a Gamecock fan helps you learn that a little more quickly.
Yeah, we can workshop this. There's maybe a way to angle it, you know, sometimes.
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing.
Sometimes it doesn't happen. Maybe you could just tell them about last year. So you could say, well, Tigers don't always beat
There you go.
Gamecocks.
We like to share.
Yeah, we like to share. See, like sharing is caring. It's virtuous, right? Maybe there's an angle you can play there, but James, no, we're thinking for you in this one. Thank you, and I appreciate you sharing that because out of all the Gamecock fans that have something on the line Saturday, I think you're in rarefied air on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Appreciate the call, James.
Appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. That was, because I'm writing these down of like the why do you hate Clemson's, because I love college football rivalry games, especially some that are so deep rooted like this one is, and I love hearing people's stories about their rivalry game experiences, and that's one of the reasons why I pose this question. I'll be asking this all week, to be honest with you. I mean, this is the one week we can really dive in to what makes this such a special rivalry. This is the most unique one. I was not expecting that the rivalry took a turn because James promised his son they're going to win.
Oh, man. and just think about the look in his eyes. He said, but you said they wouldn't lose. Like,
oh, no.
Yeah, heartbreaker.
No, I do vaguely remember, like, as a kid, because my dad big Tennessee Vols fan, grew up in a Tennessee Vols family.
I'm sorry.
Whenever they play Florida every year, my dad was so jaded about that game. I remember being like, Dad, you think we beat Florida this year? And I remember him laughing. He's like, don't bank on it. Just straight up. He wasn't going to let me get my
Well, no
hopes up.
sugarcoating.
Nope,
This might
absolutely
explain
not.
a little bit about Elijah.
He is my dad is definitely, in terms of his fandom style, pessimist. Like a hardcore pessimist.
He's protecting his heart at all times.
He is. Frank Campbell, very guarded individual. Back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Our friend Ian is on the line. Now, Ian's calling in. Want to talk men's basketball, but I want to flip the question for you, Ian. Before you get to what you wanted to call, I want to flip the question on you because I know you're a Clemson fan. Why do you hate South Carolina?
I gotta say it's genetic. It's just genetic. Just born that way. Born that way. And I was gonna try to answer your question or maybe recuse myself from it altogether. But if I had to say I hated Clemson for anything, it would be that we've given you guys a glimmer of hope, and that is unacceptable.
Can't have that around here.
Yeah. To my, but no, I wanted to my director of dubious distinctions, Elijah. I wanted to nominate Derek Scott for a Purple Heart, and I just want to get out in front of this thing. Y'all do not do that, man, like you did him last year. He is amazing at his job. I love listening to him. But yeah, don't do him like that this year. I want to nominate him for a Purple Heart because he's been through it. I'll say that.
He has. Last year being the play-by-play for the men's basketball team and the baseball team. Not for the faint of heart. It was not. That man called a lot of losing games last year.
Yes. Even as a Tiger, sometimes I feel for him, but no, he's awesome. And give him the Purple Heart. Go Tigers. Let's have a great week.
Oh, let's have a fantastic week.
Appreciate
Love
that,
the call.
yeah.
Appreciate
Great
hearing
call.
from you, buddy. Oh, man. Yeah, for Derek Scott.
Yeah, I believe it was one of those games where we was getting beat like 20-0 baseball, and Derek is just still the consummate professional calling the game. I was like, man, that guy is he's a pro. He's a pro, man.
He is. And I would talk, anytime that, Jay and I would have Derek on to lighten the mood, I would always talk about our Cincinnati Reds, but then I realized I'm not really lightening the mood here. I'm not doing a good job of this at all. Yes, our director of dubious distinctions, Ian.
Nice.
Pointing out well that Derek went through it. But for the men's basketball team this year, I still think you got to work out. And the flaws that exist on this team, the warts reflected over the weekend, that basketball game with Clemson is going to be a good one too because Clemson went to Charleston and took down two pretty good teams, beat West Virginia, and then went to overtime to beat Georgia to be able to win the Shriners Classic down there in Charleston. They look pretty good doing it.
So there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered that are still yet to be answered about the men's basketball team, but I do think I'm ready to answer that Eli Ellis can play at this level.
Yes.
And that was a big question that I had because I'm guilty. I saw the TikToking. I saw the overtime elite. I was like, I don't know about this guy. And I do think he's able to play, compete, and excel at this level.
He's got that dog in him.
And so that has been a pleasant surprise on my behalf.
Yeah, he certainly has that dog in him. But coming up next, you know who had that dog in him over the weekend? South Carolina's receiving group, especially when it came to the screen game. Professor P is going to put class in session. We're going to discuss why the screen game was so successful on Saturday, and is that something that we could see more of against Clemson? Professor P breaks it down next. Reliability, we talk about it a lot, especially when it comes to alleviating certain stresses in your life. And if you are one of those, like many Americans, that get caught in the pesky IRS maze, maybe you're behind, maybe there's just some things you need to resolve. The solution can be simple, and the reliability of John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm have helped relieve that stress that taxes can bring you for many South Carolinians. And all you have to do is call them at 803-771-9800, where you can talk with John and his team at the Ecton Law Firm and get a free consultation, right? The free consultation is doing a lot of heavy lifting here because sometimes you just have to talk through your issues, game plan with them, let them go to work for you. Take that first step to a worry-free life by calling John and his team, whether it be Income or business tax issues, doesn't matter. They've seen it all. 803-771-9800, or you can visit them at ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Preston Thorne, I'm going to read you a little something here. This is South Carolina's numbers on screen passes on Saturday. 8 completions and 9 attempts, 170 yards and 1 touchdown. Pretty good, right? Solid. Some would say acceptable, including the 75-yarder on the first play of the game. But what makes South Carolina's screen attack so good? Why was it so good on Saturday? And is it something they should really do on next Saturday? Is that something that carries over? Well, we're going to break that down here for Professor P.
It's the sport of kings, better than diamond rings. Football, Wildcat football, Wildcat football, Wildcat football.
SDDs every single day. Skip Holtz would do this with the offensive practice. SDDs.
Thank you for the distinction.
Very clear. Screens, draws, delays. That's part of every offensive toolbox that you have as a way to keep the defense off balance. You use these different types of plays as a way for to gain your offensive an advantage, especially when they have some maybe market disadvantages on the interior of the line. And so what you saw on Saturday was Mike Fury and offensive staff come out on the first play, and I've been looking over this. On the first play, they run a designed screenplay to a playmaker. That playmaker happened to be Jaden Sellers. And what they do with this was going to be a screen, but there's two types of wide receiver screens. You have the tunnel, which is this coming in towards the line of scrimmage, and you have the bubble, which is going outside. So tunnel screens come towards the line of scrimmage. Bubble screens go away from the line of scrimmage. This was going to be a bubble screen where Jaden Sellers was lined up in a slot type position. He's going to run the bubble. But what it really is, for anybody who hasn't been paying attention or you old school football, it's just a toss sweep. It's just a way to get the ball on the perimeter very quickly. And what they did, I said it was Mo Brown, but it wasn't. It was Jordan Dingle. They had the tight end motion out, and essentially he runs a crack block. He runs a kick out play where he motions out, and he's gonna be on the corner. He gets on the corner. He motions out. He gets on the corner. Crack blocks. Boom, boom. And it's just a tall sweep. It's not that fancy of a play, but it's a way to get your playmaker in space, and it's also a way to not rely on your offensive linemen to have to do what they haven't been able to do all year, which is blocking the interior. They haven't been able to do it, so why ask them to do it? You should not. That's one thing you should not do as a play caller. Find out what your players can do and do the things that they can. So you'll see that was a bubble screen, a way to get a playmaker the ball in space so he can make plays. We used to do this a long time ago, even back in ancient early 2000s. We used to do this because there were a lot of times where maybe we were outmanned up front because we were playing teams like Tennessee, and they had these guys like, I don't know, Albert Hainsworth, John Henderson, two dudes that were huge. I don't know, we were playing Georgia. They had these guys, I don't know, Richard Seymour, Stroud, right? Huge dudes that could really play ball. But you don't concede to them. You just figure out ways that you can beat them. And what the idea was, making them defend the field horizontally also. So we're going to get these big guys running. We're going to get their tongues wagging a little bit, make them tired. Then once they're tired, maybe we can use the inside zone game after that. But you want to get them going side to side. And so this screen game is a way for offenses to take advantage of their playmakers in space. And you saw that on the first play. The blocking on the perimeter gets made. You add an extra blocker with the tight end. So it's just a well-designed play that allows your guys to make plays. So kudos to them, but you want to continue to do that. And it's a shame we haven't seen more of that this season.
No, I mean, so many times when I look kind of like at the splits as to what type of passing concepts get used, even just from the more basic ones like play actions and screens, right? So many times this year, you would see something like that work pretty effectively, but the number be under 30%, right? Especially with play action this year, sometimes it was really, really low. But in this game, you had 45% play action as opposed to no play action, 37.5% screens to no screens, right? I would say that's taking what you do really well and just doing more of it.
And what was the numbers again?
So in terms of the play action, no play action splits, 45.8% play action, 54.2 no play action.
And he was 8 for 9?
And then on the screens, 8 for 9 on screen passes for 170 yards, 1 touchdown.
As you said, obviously a big chunk of it was the first play, but what it also allows is your quarterback to get in rhythm, make a couple of throws that they can make, gives you confidence, gives the offense some flow and some rhythm, and allows those players to get in a one-on-one situation where they're going to get a chance to make plays. And this was the designed play. This was the play that they were starting the game with. So instead of starting the game with an inside zone, you can start it off with a screenplay and have some of the same results. And maybe if things hit, you might be able to hit a home run.
Now, let's just say you take that 75-yarder out, right? Which I know that's not how statistics in football or anything else works, but let's just live in that world, right? Where that play doesn't happen. Say they just ran inside zone there and they ran the same amount of screen passes for the same effect the rest of the game. Still picking up 13.5 yards per play on screens. It was incredibly effective.
You know, there's an old story. You know what the best play to run after a screen?
Another screen.
Another screen. They're not expecting it.
Just spam it. Spam screen
They'll never
passes
think
all
another
game.
one's coming. You do it again.
Oh, that's my Madden philosophy is, this play worked. I want to do it again until you stop it. I want to do it again until you make me not have to do it again. 2 hours down, one more to go. We'll continue reading your texts on why you hate Clemson, because it's Clemson week coming up next.
Pressing here for our folks at Integrated Media. Listen, we've been trying to tell you all year that you need to get your outdoor setup ready. Well, we are here. We have reached almost the end of the season. Don't rush. But why wait? You can even get a jump on the new year because sports still be happening, and the folks can integrate from Integrated Media can get you set up. You can get Wi-Fi that works indoor and outdoor, so you can have all your devices playing. 12 o'clock is going to be a big day on Saturday. Obviously, you're going to have Clemson versus South Carolina, but there's another big game that's happening at the same time, and you could be watching that one too. You can be watching all the big games outdoor, enjoying your time. Maybe even you're frying the turkey outside, watching the games, whatever. It can all be going, and the folks from Integrated Media can help you get set up. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, monitoring your security systems, Integrated Media is the folks. Call them at 803-948-8327. That's Integrated Media at 803-948-8327.
No significant backups right now. We don't have any reports of accidents, and that's what we call a good Monday. 72 is the high we're looking for, 75 tomorrow and on Wednesday as well. Might see a few showers rolling in on Wednesday, and when that comes in, that's when the cooler temperatures come in. We will then be in the mid-50s, about 58 for Thanksgiving, 53 for the weekend. By Sunday, maybe get back to 60 with some scattered showers. But game day is looking pretty decent and cloudy. But like I said, a little bit on the cooler side. It'll feel more like football weather. 47 right now on the early game.
Hour number 3 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And this morning, yes, it's a Reaction Monday. And yes, we can talk a lot about the Coastal Carolina game, which we're still obviously open to doing. We're still doing. However, take that game. I'll pull it up. Throw it away because it's Clemson week now. And now we this morning asked you, why do you hate Clemson? Jeff on the Firehouse Subs text line says, I hate Clemson because of 20 years living in Greenville and Tiger Paw stamps on every piece of paper in my office. At least there was the Spurrier years.
Good times.
If you're a Gamecock fan living in the upstate, yeah, it's probably enhanced.
It's a tough spot. We travel in the upstate all the time with the book, and it's aggressive territory.
It is. Quarter on the text line. See, this is the type of stuff that I love right here, is why it's so ingrained in you at a young age to maybe hate a specific team. He goes, I was bred to hate Clemson. Story is, when I was 3, my older cousin gave me some hand-me-down Clemson pajamas. Ooh. My mother put them on me. When my dad got home, he took the pajamas off me and threw them in the fireplace. That is next level. Is when dad comes home and says, absolutely not.
What have you done?
We are not wearing this. Thank you for the donation, but also don't. Mm-hmm. We have another texter. I started hating Clemson in 1978 when Charlie Vollman ran into Woody Hayes' fist in the Gator Bowl. He ran into his fist. I love the wording.
That's how Woody Hayes would describe it. Mm-hmm.
My fist is just out there. He ran into my fist, right? If he does, it's on him. He goes, I didn't even know where Clemson was at the time.
Fair.
That is a special distinction there. So many of these too. Going back to earlier in the show, because we had a couple of texts earlier. One texter says, this is a Greenville Gamecock. Another Greenville Gamecock says,
They exist.
He says, I hate Clemson because Clemson fans make their whole persona Clemson University, whether it be the stupid pin they always have on their shirt. Only clothing they own is Clemson branded, down to the stupid orange and white shoes, or passing out $2 bills whenever they go out of town. They can't just be a fan. Clemson is their entire life. Losers. Didn't hold back. Did not hold back.
Oh, this is good times, man. Great times.
Oh, man. And another one. Nameless texter says, nothing original about their mascot, stadium nickname, Stupid Hill.
Now, there's something to that. I mean, we have multiple Death Valleys, multiple Tigers, right? There's a lot of the lore that was in Auburn was always Clemson. I mean, there's something to that.
Oh, yeah, that's what I love about rivalries too. And one of my favorite things about like when I moved here is getting to experience this firsthand. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. Mm-hmm. Like it honestly is a treat, right? Because I mean, I've covered rivalry games, whether it be SEC, non-SEC. Like this one has a lot of special stuff to it.
Well, I think the big juice on this one is that, you know, I'll talk later on in the week my special criteria for a rivalry, but the juice on this one is that we're in state, right? You go to church together, you go to school together, you work together, all these types of things, and probably for a majority of the year, it's all good, except for this week right here. And so, you know, you'll hear a lot of conversations prefaced with, yeah, Elijah, he's my good friend. He's a Clemson guy, but he's a really good guy.
Right.
You know he's a good friend of mine.
It'd be like, yeah, my buddy, he's got a little bit of a shady history when it comes to, to legality and dealings, but he's a great guy. Saying
bless his heart is really where it comes into. He's a Clemson fan. Mm-hmm. Bless his heart.
But we like him anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Y'all sweet. I'm friends with them. Uh-huh. I'm totally good with them, except for one day a year.
Correct.
That seems to be always the caveat.
Mm-hmm. Like that's like really like you see those house divided like front bumper
or see yard plates. Flags or
the funniest phenomena in America is seeing people have one where of two teams that are just not rivals that don't care about each other. Like your house isn't that divided.
That's not divided.
It's
we can cheer for we can cheer for both of them at the same time.
Yeah,
that's not a divided house.
Like I remember seeing one a while back. It was like Kentucky and Auburn, and I'm like, you guys barely play each other. What do you mean it's a house divided? I mean, if
That's
anything, you
weird.
probably live like decently, like harmoniously for the most part. I guess maybe it's went until Bruce Pearl became the basketball coach. Yeah, then maybe there's a little bit of basketball animosity there, but it's not a real type like rivalry. Like a South Carolina Clemson one, appropriate. It's an
Absolutely.
appropriate house divided ones.
We did something. I don't know if, we dropped my son on his head a few times when he was little. I don't know what happened. He is a Clemson fan. And the
Truly
other,
a house divided.
It is that's truly a house divided. There's three of us who are Carolina fans, and then whatever happened to him. So I don't know.
And again, that's a phenomenon I see around the state very often. When we're going with the Just the Chicken book and people are out there, it's like, we brought our friends. Either they want to give it to their kid early to try and get them on the right side, some propaganda, or it's like, with three of us are this way, and then there's one rebel who's a Gamecock. It was, what I'm saying? So I have like a lot of Clemson fans like, we're all Clemson fans, but this guy's a rebel. This girl's a rebel over here. So it happens.
You think maybe it's a phase they'll grow out of?
It
just
doesn't happen.
hasn't happened. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and to be quite fair, if anybody has been a Clemson fan for the past, I don't know, decade now, it's been good times.
It's been good times.
Yeah,
it's been a good time to
And
be.
that's about actually when he started.
It's been. Listen, if you were a child in this state over the past decade and you were picking squads, it'd be very tough to convince you to come to the good guys.
And until recently, right? Because now the last two games at Clemson, you've won.
Very true.
So that helps a little bit, right? Like when the rivalry outcomes are balanced, like that helps in terms of future generations, in terms of keeping it an even ratio.
And to be fair, that's what's brought a lot of juice back to this game, because for that significant period of time where Clemson was running the table, it got to a point where it was like, man, I must show up like the TikTok girl, but this is not fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, but I kind of know how this is going to end. And then Shane, to his credit, broke that 2 years ago. That game up at Death Valley broke the streak, 2 out of 3. So this thing has turned back into a thing where at least Clemson fans are feeling like Chuck that called, like, hey, man, there's something on the other side. They didn't feel like that for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. And my favorite dynamic of all of this is when you have like a married couple where one spouse is a Gamecock fan, the other is a Tiger fan. And then they procreate, they have children, and now it's a war over who's going to win the child's fandom, right?
For sure. I've seen that situation play out. Like, who's going to be the one that's really influencing, and it doesn't necessarily break down by gender. You never know how this is going to turn out. Also,
unpredictable variable.
Also, when they go to the grandparents' house, how does that situation turn out? Right? Because, grandparents might be one way or another. You send the kids over there, and then all of a sudden, you send them. They come back home from Grammys, and now they're wearing Clemson colors or they're wearing Gamecocks. Like, what happened?
Or in Quarter's instance, the cousin giving him hand-me-down Clemson pajamas. The influence comes from everywhere, and you make a decision at a young age, right? When you start getting into things like college football as to where the allegiance ends up going. I love seeing that. Like my buddy Justin, who I do the high school football scoreboard show with every Friday night, married to a Clemson fan. They have a daughter. One day, she will have to make a decision, right? My girlfriend Mira, birthday today. Happy birthday, Mira. Her uncle Wesley, lifelong Clemson fan, married a South Carolina grad. They have multiple children. And Wesley said, I remember talking with Wesley about it, saying, and he goes, our daughters can cheer for whoever they want. My son's not going to cheer for South Carolina. My son's going to be a Clemson fan. And I thought that's what, like, that dynamic now has become my favorite part of it, right?
As always.
Because a lot of it, like a lot of what you guys have texted or called in said, like, you hate Clemson or you hate South Carolina because it's genetic, right? Or because when you were a certain age, your dad or your mom said, we don't pull for Tigers, right? Or even poor James, who had his kid come back home, his sweet 4-year-old saying, we do beat the Tigers, right? We're going to win, right? And James got a little ahead of his skis and promised a Gamecock win.
James needs this one.
Oh, man. A lot of great texts, like just in the last little bit. Sammy says he's a Clemson fan. He goes, as a Clemson fan born and raised in Columbia, you can build up a special kind of disdain for Carolina.
That's a tough spot. We talked about the reverse, a Gamecock in Greenville, but a Clemson in Columbia, tough skin.
It is. It's tough sledding because when you're outnumbered, it's even harder, right? You got to be 10 toes down for your group at that point. He goes, but I can honestly say that I can respect the fans that are like me and live and die by it every week and would pull for Clemson to lose almost as hard as pulling for Carolina. That is a healthy understanding of how things should be. The ones that I detest are the fans that say they pull for both teams when they're not playing each other, or the ones that you would never know care a thing about sports until this week rolls around. Get out of here with all that stuff. It should be a good game, and I hope it's a Clemson W. Go Tigers.
I love it. Great call. Great text. Oh. And I love how he said a healthy understanding of how this works. That's right.
Yes, a healthy understanding.
Healthy is key.
Yes, this is how you understand this. This is how it should go.
Joey on the Firehouse Subs text line. He says, I just have one criteria for my daughter when she dates someone. Do not bring home a Clemson fan.
I don't need to see driver's license. I don't need to see, parental lineage. I don't need any of that. I need to know, are they orange or garnet?
Yeah, that's the only background check required, right? We can maybe excuse a lot of other things, but we won't excuse fandom of the other team.
I like it.
But that's what makes this so special, too. Like, all of this to say, because there's so many. And, like, what I love, too, is I can ask a question like that, and it's so different, right? One person just says, I hate Clemson's stupid band, loud and obnoxious. The band's catching a strain.
I love it.
Like, it is just so, like, culturally ingrained, right? And that's, like, the one thing, like, obviously, my life background is growing up in Tennessee. And you can ask different Tennessee fans, like, who they hate the most, right? Some will say Florida. Some say Georgia. Rarely. But a lot of them will say Alabama. But, like, as a kid growing up in the, like, late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of it was more Florida than Alabama until Nick Saban got there. And you have just different reasons for anything. Here, it is one team and one team only that you hate more than anything else.
Yeah, it's very clear.
And for both schools, it's that way, right? Like for Tennessee, Alabama, for instance, Alabama may not hate Tennessee as much as they hate Auburn, right? It's not a mutual, complete disdain.
Mutual. That's the word where you need it. It has to be mutual. I don't like you. You don't like me. These are the rules.
Like Michigan State, for example. Who does Michigan State hate more than anybody? Michigan. But you know what? Michigan's a little more concerned with Ohio State. That is their mutual, like the biggest mutual disdain. I don't know if you poll Michigan fans and have many of them say they hate Michigan State more than Ohio State.
It's not going to happen.
You may hate me, but I got bigger problems than you, pal. I've got other enemies more prominent than you. But here in this state, no matter how good or bad the teams are, public enemy number one is still the team in your state.
Yeah, you could reference that by the time when Dabo was winning 10 games every year, going to BCS games, ACC championships, and we were beating them five in a row, and the Clemson fans were miserable. Despite all of the success they were having as a program, they still were losing that game. And they tried to act like it wasn't a big thing, but it still got on their nerves so bad that little old South Carolina was beat. We were good at the time, too, but they were having so much success. And they could not shake the idea that they were still losing to us.
See, I love that. It would bother you, right? No matter how successful your season is.
They were winning 10, 12 games all through that time period. They were awesome, but they couldn't shake us.
And it
bothered them.
Diminished.
Yes.
But if roles are reversed, like if this year, South Carolina was, 10-1 going into this game. A loss to Clemson would hurt. You'd have a 10-win season, but you know what? People are going to remember that last game of the year where you played.
We talked about quarterbacks. All of the quarterbacks, Tommy Suggs, Connor Shaw, who have beat Clemson, all remembered. Taj Boyd for Clemson is one of the greatest quarterbacks in that program's history.
Mm-hmm.
He never beat us, and that is a stain that people that does not reflect on his career. And he's the one who got this whole thing going. But since he did not beat us, it's always something to him.
Last text here, Evan on the Firehouse Subs text line says, my firstborn son will be here in January. My wife asked, what if he grows up and goes to Clemson? Well, he better get a full ride because I ain't paying. I love this so much. Thorns, Buds, and Roses. That's next.
Hey guys, feeling like you lost your edge? Maybe brain fog's got you struggling to focus, or are you working out and not getting the results that you used to? Well, there's a reason why you're not feeling like yourself, and it might be low testosterone. But you don't just have to live with it. You can reclaim your drive, your energy, and your focus at the Men's Clinic with Dr. Dan Boltnight, who's a respected local physician, somebody you will get to see, somebody you will get to know, somebody you will get to feel and have his appointments there with you in person. It's not some faceless online program. Dr. Boltnight tailors his programs to your labs and your symptoms. And those labs, well, you can get a consultation, your initial consultation for free. Absolutely free. Get your T-level check. You have nothing to lose. So don't wait. Call Dr. Dan Boltnight in the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. That's 803-875-MENS. Or you can find them online at mensclinicsc.com.
Looking pretty good on the highways this morning. Not seeing any significant slowdowns. 72 for the high today, 75 tomorrow and Wednesday with some showers coming in on Wednesday before a little bit of a cool down. Thursday, Thanksgiving looking like 58, and the Clemson game, it's looking like it could be a high of 53. So that will be interesting. 49 right now in the early game.
Before we get to Thorns, Buds, and Roses, we have a little bit of history on the show. Because I think for the first time, at least since I have joined the program, we have a caller asking for anonymity.
We need a voice modulator.
Yeah, we should have gotten a voice modulator. If we were doing a TV interview, they would have kind of like the blacked out appearance. They would start sounding just like this. Almost like there's somebody in witness protection in the middle of a documentary about the mob. So we'll provide some anonymity. I'm sorry that we can't voice modulate. We do not have that technology or maybe the capabilities to do that just yet. You never know. You never know. Advancements in technology are a thing. But we will get to who we will call a diehard Gamecock fan. So diehard Gamecock, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning.
How we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving
morning,
to you
Preston.
too.
Good morning.
You may know who this is, Preston.
I think
we'll
I think I do, but we're gonna keep it anonymous.
That's right. No
yes,
no spoilers.
You better, buddy. So, I happened to be at a gathering right before the Clemson game about 10 years ago, and I was overpopulated with Clemson fans and very much outnumbered. So I went in intending to play nice with others, as Preston knows I will. And I waited, got through the dinner, nothing was said. And then I happened to ask the question and opened up the door. Do you think that these deviled eggs will keep until the Clemson game on Saturday? And it started. And one young man says, well, who do you think is going to win the game Saturday? To which I answered after I took a very deep breath and said, well, I can answer that question for you. It is going to be the team who puts the most points up on our new multi-million-dollar Jumbotron. And he said, well, if y'all win, I might just have to turn out to be a Carolina fan. Now, you got to remember, this family gives zero money to that upstate school. No one in their family has ever attended that upstate school. And I took another deep breath, and our year was not going very well that year, and I said, please don't do that. We have enough problems as it is with adding you to the mix. And my deviled eggs and I left, and I've never been back.
Like it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I don't know what I like more, the refusal of giving the deviled eggs or the team that's going to win is going to be the one who puts the most points up on our new multi-million-dollar scoreboard.
All over deviled eggs. You never know how things are going to start. that is a very Southern story.
Deviled eggs, football rivalry, enemy territory. That has everything that you want in a Southern college football rivalry, all baked in. Slight pun intended. All baked into one story. So thank you, anonymous diehard Gamecock fan. Always appreciate the call. Well, we'll appreciate some of Preston's observations because we'll get now to Thorns, Buds, and Roses. Let's get some of that Outcast.
It's time for Thorns, Buds, and Roses with Preston Thorn on the early game, 107.5 The Game.
All right, Elijah, big week, 51 points. That was awesome, but a lot of things happened this weekend. Some with Thorn, some with Buds, some with Roses. So let's get started. Thorn. We as a university, we are searching for traditions. We're searching for things that can make us have an identity. And Big Game Garnet was right there. We had it. Spurrier planted that seed. We had it. And somehow we've just forgotten that that was a thing. It was a thing when we were successful. We broke out the Big Game Garnets for Coastal.
Missed opportunity.
That's a good observation.
We missed the opportunity. Big Game Garnets for Big Game Garnet. And Clemson was right around the corner.
Just 1 week
away. It was right there. All we had to do. Now, listen, I don't know if we're in the outfit repeating here. and I'm fine with it.
I
Is
am
that a
not
fashion
opposed.
sin to do that?
Some people say it is. Some people say it is. I have no problem with it. If you look good in it, you look good in it. Wear it again.
Yeah, if you got that on, you got it on.
You got it on, you got it on. But I don't think we're going to do it, so I'm really interested to see what the uniform choice is going to be next week. But Big Game Garden was right there. Those people in the purple pants, they have certain pants that they wear for big games, and I kind of like that. We had something. Let's go back to it. Buds. Either we're going to nip this Ole Miss thing in the bud, or we're going to be planting a seed in LSU or Florida. I don't know where. But the Lane Kiffin tree, something will be happening to it after the Deviled Egg Bowl.
He ain't going back to Ole Miss.
So you're saying you're going to nip it in the bud?
Because you know what? If he told Keith Carter and the leadership at Ole Miss that he is planning on coming back, they wouldn't have had this release saying, he'll make his decision after the Egg Bowl. My brother in Christ, he's made his decision.
Can you imagine having a university have the most success they've ever had in football, and your coach is kind of like, I don't know, man. We'll see. Enjoy it. Enjoy the time while you have it. Don't cry that it was over. Enjoy smile because it happened.
Totally.
This guy is the same guy. We will talk about Lane later in the week, but don't be fooled by the hot yoga and all of the inspirational quotes that he's putting up. He's the same dude. No, he doesn't do anything for money. He just needs $90 million to do something, reportedly. Anyway, roses. 20 roses for the MEAC champions. Get up for the South Carolina State Bulldogs. Won the championship again. Chennis Berry, repeat winner, two-time. Undefeated in MEAC play since he's been there. Dude is a winner, man. He won at Benedict when people said that wouldn't happen. Took over for a legend, which most people do not want to do, and he has taken that program, kept it, and even extended the life of that program. So the Bulldogs won the MEAC championship again for the 20th time. We'll be playing in the Celebration Bowl later on in December. So shout out to all the Bulldogs. Get up for the Bulldogs. South Carolina State 20-time MEAC champions. Elijah, those are our thorns, buds, and roses.
December 15th.
I think it's the 13th. This one is it's whatever that weekend is. But yes.
I think Carlton said 15th.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of those. The Saturday that will be on because it'll be a Saturday. It'll be at noon. It'll be at that big, beautiful Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah. One of my favorite football memories was watching Buddy Pugh beat down Coach Prime in Coach Prime's first celebration bowl. That was one of my favorite football memories. So shout out to the Bulldogs. Bring this one home this year.
That's right. A little patriotism on the show.
Absolutely.
Would absolutely love to see.
Hey, listen, we can't agree on Clemson. We can't agree on Carolina. We can all push our support behind the Bulldogs.
Yep. There's only one school in the state that plays for a Celebration Bowl title every year.
Right.
And they're playing in yet another one this year. In terms of just Coach Berry's pedigree, he's only been here 2 years. He's won the league both times. And like you mentioned, he's not lost a conference game.
Domination.
Some dudes are just winners, right? Mike Singletary wants Chennis Berry on his team. Mike Singletary will send Vernon Davis home and bring in Chennis Berry any day of the week. We'll continue getting to your texts about the Clemson rivalry. Why do you hate Clemson? And we'll take a call from our pal Troy. All of that coming up next here on The Early Game.
Just a really good Monday morning overall. No accidents to report, and we're not complaining about that whatsoever. Some construction across the Midlands, of course, that could be slowing you down, but no accidents to speak of. And looking for a high today of 72, 75. Tomorrow and Wednesday, that's when some showers could be rolling in. By Thursday, things will cool down, so it'll be a cooler Thanksgiving than we've been experiencing. 58 for the high. Game day looking like it's going to be partly cloudy and 53. Right now, the sun is out, trying to warm things up a little bit, but it's 46 right now.
We're going back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. My man Troy is on the line. Want to talk about this rivalry. Troy, good morning. Good to have you on the early game, my man.
Hey, what's going on, Ian? As y'all know, I'm a Clemson fan, so I'm going to tell you about the worst I have ever gotten on April Fool's Day. It was during the Holtz years. My daughter was about 11 or 12, and we were going somewhere, and she said, Dad, turn the radio down. I got to talk to you about something. And I was like, oh, man, what? And anyway, she said, well, you know, I live up pretty close to Columbia. She was living in Peoria. And I said, yeah. And she said, South Carolina's getting pretty good. I said, yeah, they've been pretty good last couple of years. Said, well, I think I'm going to be a Gamecock fan. And I said, you better think about finding a new dad, too. And then she waits for, it seemed like a long time, probably only a few seconds, and says, April Fool's Day. And I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, man. Did you feel your heart stop beating in your chest for a slight bit?
Yeah. Of course, I was kidding about finding a new dad, but that was my reaction.
The emotional roller coaster of daughter saying, Dad, I need to talk to you.
That alone, all right? That statement alone makes you kind of have to gather yourself. But when she said that, Troy, out of all things, when she starts off like the entire conversation with Dad, I need to talk to you about something, plenty of things going around in your head. Plenty of them, right? A wide variety. But when she said, I'm thinking about becoming a South Carolina Gamecock fan, was that maybe the worst thing that could have been if we're ranking them?
It was up there. It was definitely up at the top of the list. I wouldn't say number one, but it was probably a close second behind number one. But anyway, that's the worst anybody's ever got me on April Fool's Day.
Nice.
So,
all
right, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes,
absolutely,
sir. Appreciate
Troy.
you listening.
Anytime, my man. Anytime. That's
again, if we got any other Tigers out there listening, we welcome you to the party also.
Oh, I love good stories when it comes to that. One texter on the Firehouse of text line says, not only was I not paying for my kids to go to Clemson, they would have to walk there without clothes or anything. So we taught them to hate Clemson early. They got in trouble in K3 for refusing to use orange crayons.
There you go. You know, you're doing like those color by number sheets or something. It's like color number 3 orange.
No.
Can't do it.
Refuse. Can't do it at all. I love that type of pettiness. It's almost like, you know, at Ohio State, Michigan, I had a friend who went to Ohio State. That's funny. She went to Ohio State and then did grad school in Michigan. So she was still in Ohio State while in grad school at Michigan. I'm like, that's a bold choice. That certainly is a choice for your, you know, postgraduate plans. But she would talk about all the time, like how whenever it was Michigan week, like they did the whole thing. They crossed out all the M's on the building on campus, every single one. I'm like, that's incredibly petty. That takes up a lot of your time.
Yes.
Honestly, a waste of your time, especially when you're that late in the semester. You probably have bigger fish to fry, like finals or anything like that. But nope, always able to carve out time to do something petty.
Yeah, to second that, I did spend some time in Columbus, and that was the first place I ever seen where the urinals had a target that was the other team's logo. So they had the M's conveniently placed in urinals around town. So I was like, oh, okay, this is real. This is a real thing around here.
Now, Preston, you obviously, you've grown up in this state, end up playing for South Carolina. Earliest memory of learning to hate the other team in this rivalry?
So I didn't have a dog in the fight early. It was a game for me. I wasn't necessarily, because my parents didn't grow up in South Carolina, so I wasn't ingrained with that early. So I was just sort of would watch the game. And me personally, it wasn't until I chose a side. Once I chose my side, I can't go back. So it wasn't until I chose the side of saying, "Oh, this is gonna be my squad. This is where I'm gonna go spend my time, where I'm going to end up being here for the next 25 years." Who would have thought that? That was when I made my choice. But early on, I didn't necessarily have. I would see the sort of conversations, but because my parents weren't from here, we didn't have the ingrainedness of it. But now my daughter does. Right? So she's going to have to make some choices early, often, and she definitely understands that. But yeah, for me, it wasn't until I made my choice, and then after that, it was no looking back.
See, we had Steve on the line who called and said he's a transplant from Cape Cod.
Okay.
Obviously didn't have a dog in the fight until he started dating a volleyball player from South Carolina.
Okay.
And so, yeah, since then, family raised accordingly as Gamecock fans, and lots of Garnet and Black. And, he said the grandkids, we'll watch and see what they do. I said, well, but there are provisions in the will that can be adjusted if need be.
You can always change them. Always change them.
Yep. But and I asked him, I said, did you feel that pressure? He said, no. He said, but marrying her, obviously, or dating her, whatever, was a significant change. But, and I said, well, we had that feeling, and maybe because we love sports, we felt that when we moved here because, again, we didn't have a dog in the fight. It's like, we have to pick somebody. Like, you can't just say, I don't know. That doesn't go over well down here.
Nah.
So we chose correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you chose
correctly. We're all here today.
Yeah, and with the influx of folks moving to our beautiful state, I would just like to let you know, you can do whatever you want, but pick a side.
Yeah.
That's right.
Pick a side, get invested in the side.
Yes, you feel that pressure, no question.
Immediately.
Yeah, because you noticed that too.
I have.
Correct?
Yeah. You immediately feel pressure to do it because obviously I had no emotional connection to either school when I moved here. And then obviously work the job I do now, South Carolina is the program I'm around every day. It's the program I talk about every day. And I'm feeling if I was raised here, that's probably where I'd pick, Obviously I don't know, there's a lot of variables that have to change there, but I was definitely, I would say, moldable at a young age. Growing up, college football fan, it was the thing that you're born into. I had free will to choose favorite teams anywhere else, right? That's
the only requirement.
That was the only one where it was a non-negotiable, right? So that was early on. If I age 6, was sitting in the living room and I uttered the words "Roll Tide," I think my dad would have had. I probably would have started seeing a therapist soon after that because something else was wrong with me psychologically that would require further professional evaluation. While we still have some time, we got about a minute here. We'll get to Robbie on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Robbie, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
What's going on, guys? Good morning.
Morning.
So I was born and raised in a Clemson family, and I chose Garnet and Black as a young age. And make a long story short, I won't even shop at Home Depot. I go to Lowe's. And so I was 2020, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. And can anybody guess what that color kidney cancer ribbon is? It's orange.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
So the one cancer I get the orange cancer ribbon. So I literally have one orange shirt in my whole closet, and it's a kidney cancer shirt. and that's it. So that's as petty as I can get.
I love it. Robbie, thank you for sharing that. Oh, thank you for that call.
I could see Robbie at the meeting with all the other survivors, and everybody's like, Robbie, why don't you have your shirt on? Mm-mm.
No, in fact, and I've been petitioning the ribbon people to change the color.
Robbie needs to change the ribbon folks. Alternate ribbons.
Can we rethink this a little bit? Can we brainstorm? Beth from Lamar says, amen to not shopping at Home Depot.
Love it.
Those calls and texts are winners. We'll give you our winners for today's show next.
Winners. Winners.
Oh, there's so many winners. Before we get to one of our winners, which is you, the listener, the participator in Reaction Monday, do want to remind you that today, live from 3 to 6, the postgame show will be broadcasting live from JT's Key on Greystone Boulevard. Because beat Clemson, beat hunger. Please bring non-perishable food items to help us beat hunger this holiday season. And as part of one of our winners, like I said, it's you. We'll go back out to the AAA Heating Air phone lines one last time because Patrick is on the line. Patrick, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, guys. So I'm like Preston. Even though I was born here in South Carolina, I grew up a military brat, so I was moving all along. I didn't really have a dog in the fight till I picked Carolina in 92, and my first taste of the rivalry was in 91 when they broadcasted the game on ESPN between Clemson and Carolina. And so I know it can be a little hard to pick what side you want to be on, but definitely I hate orange. And I went to a school that a high school that was mostly Clemson based, but we got to beat those Pussycats this weekend. Go Cox!
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thanks for the call, Patrick. And picking it early, right? Said military kid, so they moved around a lot, but he ultimately ended up picking a side because there's two ways you can get into this. You're either born into it, or you're living here and you decide to make that choice.
And both of them are as legit because when you choose this, that means you are down, right? And if you're born into it, then you got bloodlines of folks you can't disappoint.
Exactly.
So there is a lot building up on this, and there's a lot riding to this. And I will say again that I am glad that it is back to a game where there's some mystery and intrigue into who is going to win this game because there wasn't for a while.
That's what leads me to my golden winner, brought to you by the Golden Spur. It's this rivalry. Like, yes. We were going to talk about the win against Coastal, broke that down a lot in the first hour of the show. And it's fun to break that game down because you got to see the Gamecocks score 50-plus in a game. We did not think we were going to see that this year. That's great. I was so ready to get on to Clemson week because we only have 4 days of it this week because of Thanksgiving. I wanted to get in as much of this as possible because this is truly one of the more unique rivalries in college football. It is a truly special one. And I'm saying that as somebody who is not born here, somebody who is not from here, who watched it from afar. But when you move here and you get to be in it and you get to experience it firsthand, you realize how special it is, right? And it's special for everybody because this is what you're born into or this is what you chose. I'm here to tell you as a third-party viewer here, I have completely fallen in love with this week every single year. Very lucky for it to be my third one. This rules. That's my golden winner for today's show.
I'm going to give a winner to one of my teammates because Lenora Sellers had 2 touchdowns throwing and 2 touchdowns running against Coastal Carolina. And he was the first Carolina quarterback to do that since 2002 when my guy, Corey Jenkins, did it. So Corey Jenks, always a winner. And every time I bring up his name, I want to make sure you remember he had those stats as a quarterback, and then the next year he went and played linebacker in the NFL.
Athlete, football player.
Just
Corey
to make
Jenkins.
sure you know that. So shout out to my guy Jenk.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I hear Corey Jenkins' name, I just think Jefferson Pilot Sports.
Oh, that feels right.
Always,
that feels right.
Eternal winner is Jefferson Pilot Sports.
Yes.
Another winner, Chennis Berry.
Yep.
Props to you, man. In terms of great coaching jobs, taking over for a legend, going 2 for 2 with winning your league, going undefeated to win your league 2 straight years, and now having a chance to complete the ultimate perfect season for South Carolina State, winning a Celebration Bowl. He's got that opportunity coming up next month. Everywhere the guy goes, he's a winner. And those are my favorite type of football coaches because they can do it in different ways. They can do it at different places with various resources. It's not like they're swimming in resources at Benedict College in South Carolina State. Good football coaches win at the Division II level. They win in the MEAC. That's what really just raw, great coaches do. And Chennis Berry is an absolute rising star in the sport.
Yeah, you drop that dude down wherever, he's gonna get you. He's gonna get you to a championship. It's just what he does. That's just what he's proven to be able to do, and that's gonna be really, really interesting to see how that goes for Chennis. Winner. even though we went a week early, big game Garnet. We just didn't go. Just 1 week, we just didn't quite get there.
It looks great.
It just didn't quite get there. But big game Garnet, and shout out to Military Appreciation Day always and forever. We appreciate all of the folks who serve, especially in Columbia. This is a military town. A lot of the folks who have come into town got here, didn't know who to pick, and they chose the Gamecocks. So congratulations to you
for your service and your selection.
Yes, right? Yes.
Also, winter outfit repeating, because you should do it next week.
Just do it again.
Nothing wrong with outfit repeating.
Wear it again.
I've done it. Hand up here. I've done it.
There's no rule that says you can't wear the same uniform 2 weeks in a row.
Nope.
It's no rule.
No rule. Also, winner, Mira's birthday's today. Happy birthday, Mira. Turns 28 today. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri, the extra point. They're winners, and they're next.